Another trip down memory lane. It was February of 2015, and I hadn't come out to anyone in my family yet. But starting this process felt like the next step in my transition. I decided I would come out to my brother and his wife first. Why did I choose this path? Well, silly, you have to keep watching to find out, of course. It's been a while since I came out to my family, and it's even been a while since I talked about that on here. I've mentioned in passing about coming out to my brother before my parents, but today, let's focus on that more exclusively. I actually scrolled through my phone to remember the day. February 28th. I actually still have one text I sent to my brother and his wife that day. Not sure why I still kept it, but it's there. At this point in time, I had been going to a trans student group since early January. I just joined an LGBT therapy group. It helped having so many people I could just share things with, be myself with, connect with, figure out transition plans with, or even just vent with. It was in these groups that I started exploring the idea of not only coming out to my family, but specifically coming out to my brother and his family before any other family members. My brother is only about 2.5 years older than me, and while we weren't super close, we always got along. So I figured, given these things, we get along, he's about my age, so hopefully he's progressive, I'm hoping he'll be supportive, or at the very least neutral. I figured he would be on my side for when I did come out to my parents, having some extra support during that very stressful and awkward experience. So when the day came, I put a lot of thought into my appearance. This is actually what I wore this day. I loved that blue dress in the early days of my transition. I wore the hell out of it. I actually looked for it before recording this video, but I think I donated a while back. I remember that it actually didn't quite fit me very well as time went on. It was too big after being on HRT for a while, and it actually made me really happy that it no longer fit. That was one of the ways I was able to figure that out. Like, some of the things I got early in transition no longer fit me well. It's like, shit, I gotta get rid of this stuff. But it's also very validating. But I digress. This was my battle armor for my first foray into this whole coming out to family thing. I also lived about an hour and a half away from my brother at the time, so I had plenty of time to really sit in the anticipatory stress before arriving at his front door. My brother and his wife knew something was up, but I don't think they knew exactly what. I texted him a few things in the days leading up, trying to say I'm trans without actually saying I'm trans. It's like, I'm struggling, I feel different, I have something important to tell you. Finally texting, I identify as a woman, which he seemed confused by based on his replies. But my girlfriend and I went over for dinner anyway. And let's just say, it was weird. We show up at the door, get a greeting, sit down for dinner, awkward smiles from my brother and sister-in-law, but they don't say anything directly. I was hoping that me showing up as Chloe would be enough to start the conversation. They probably had no idea what to say and were just trying their best to be nice, I guess. We finished dinner and then we played some board games. Playing board games and card games was one of the main ways that me and my brother bonded for many years. After a few rounds, though, I was like, okay, I've had enough of this. My girlfriend was feeling tired and feeling ready to go home, so when she went to the bathroom, I was like, we're gonna have this conversation. So at this point, I went through the usual spiel. I'm trans. I'm a woman. I've struggled with this my whole life. I'm now doing what I need to do to be happy. All that jazz, You know how it goes. My brother and sister-in-law quietly listened. Didn't really say anything. Didn't say anything bad, but nothing really positive either, nothing much at all. I thought they were pretty chill with everything and maybe just needed a little bit of time to process. I eventually planned for Easter, April 5th, for coming out to my parents, since I was going home that day anyway, and don't worry, Easter is not like a big thing for my family, so it was just kind of like, everyone's gonna be there, so let's do it. It was in those weeks leading up to Easter that I realized that my brother was not really on my side. Through a series of texts, I could tell that he was trying to control exactly what I was going to say to my parents, how I presented myself, the story I would share, all of this. And all of this was coming from someone who has never had to come out. I took one of his suggestions, the suggestion to tell my mom over the phone at least a few days in advance, and I feel like this helped with the coming out process in some ways because it did give my parents time to process before I visited and told them the bulk of the story, so to speak. But I did eventually get fed up with all the suggestions and decided to just do it in a way that felt appropriate to me. Honestly, coming out is hard and awkward, and there's never a good time to do it. But it was my story to tell, and I needed to do it in a way that felt right to me. I'm not going to go into the details of that particular day in this video, but I will say that April 5th, 2015 was when my brother and sister-in-law revealed how they truly felt, that they didn't know how to explain who or what I was to their kids. Kids that they didn't even have at this time, but they do now have a daughter who I believe is probably somewhere around 4 at this point, if I had to guess. I haven't seen my brother and sister-in-law since that day, and I haven't ever met my niece. I hope one day. At this point, I mostly just want to have a relationship with my niece. The rest of them, that would be nice, but that's the relationship I feel most deprived of at this point in time. All in all, my original plan was to have them there to be supportive when coming out to my parents. That plan, you could say, completely backfired. All in all, things still ended up okay, I would say, at least with my parents. It took them time, my dad especially, but I would say that I'm closer to both of them now than I ever was pre-transition, so score. It was clunky, it was bumpy, I wish the results were different with my brother and family, but I'm still very, very thankful to have my parents in my life. Well, I don't mean to bring the mood down, because despite all of that, I feel my life is in a very good place these days. I would love to hear your thoughts, though. Any reactions to this story? How did you go about coming out to your family if you already have? Did you plan out an order to come out to each of the family members, kind of like I did? Or have you not come out to family yet? How are you planning to go about doing it if coming out to family is something that you plan on doing? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, Tipsy and I love you all, and hope that you're staying as safe and sound as you can during these tough times. If you have not done so already, please be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and notification bell. I love you all. Bye for now.